Hello and welcome on back to the podcast that drinks and knows things. I am Luke, and I am joined with our first-time watcher on the wall, Abby Gertie of House Condescension. Go home, Gertie!
Hello. I'm not going home just yet.
Welcome back. We are here doing Season 7, Episode 2 of Game of Thrones, Abby Gertie's initial takes. So, we're just, no real formalities on this. We're just going straight into it, and I'm going to basically just shut up now. Abby, what were your thoughts on Episode 2 of Game of Thrones?
Well,
Season 7?
last week we did a theme, so I like themes. I'm that kind of girl that's like, I'll totally dress up for the co-workers pirate day. Heck yeah, so that's just the way I roll. So today the theme is, well, that didn't go as expected.
Whoopsie.
Whoa, okay. So our first one that doesn't go as expected. Again, initial viewer here. I'm watching, and Danny is just ripping into Varys.
Mm-hmm.
She was total boss on all of it. Because I, at first, was leery of Varys, but I also was a horrible miscalculation. My point, pulling for Littlefinger being the guy we could trust. I was wrong. It's okay. It happens. But Varys is definitely up there in my book. I like him a whole lot now. And to see all these past transgressions and him answering for it. I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 Danny,
Whoa,
back it
dude,
up."
easy, easy. He's cool.
Yeah, and you can even Tyrion doing his but
That
he's
exact thing.
good.
He's like, hold on just a minute there, Mr. Darius.
Yes, exactly. So, we get through this thing and I'm like, "Oh my god, like, you're done. She does not like you, bro. Like, she doesn't like you at all. This is bad."
That's a one-way ticket to the ouchie train.
Yes, and, get the Crisco ready because 'cause you're gonna be frying, and, I was not shocked or, like, surprised because it is Danny's nature to do this, so it was completely the whole time, I guess I should have realized, like, this was where it was going, but I didn't. I had that huge, like, "Whew, okay. What a good leader." Like, what that's why people love Danny. Varys, if I'm feeling my people, you don't go behind my back.
Mhm,
You come to me and we fix it. And he says, "All right, good to go." After that chat, "Yeah, sure, anything you want. I promise." And she's like, "And if you don't, I will burn the house down." Okay?
mhm.
So it was a good Danny moment. It did not go as I expected. I saw that train just derailing, crash and burn, and I was wrong. I was happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, so, like, this is the first time we've seen them in the same
Mhm.
room, right? So, I mean, it's a completely natural thing that she would need these answers from him specifically. This is one of those names that she's heard of growing up.
Mhm.
Varys the Spider, he send out assassins after me, and he has to answer for those crimes. I'm sure we'll get into this on our main discussion.
Right.
Probably could have asked on the boat on the way over, but here we are.
Yeah.
That
Here
the,
we are.
we were going to spend a whole couple episodes on a boat, so.
Right. So my last thought or question, I guess, about this little scene we have going on. You and your friends traded me. Um, I did not realize that. I always thought it was just Viserys that kind of had spearheaded this. I did not realize that Varys was part of her being married to Khal Drogo. Varys and the guy that gives her stuff, and then
Illyrio.
and the guy who is underneath the crypts. And yeah, I've seen him like one time, I
Yeah,
think.
that is
Okay.
like the only thing that we have to look at to say that those
Okay.
two were working together
Okay.
from that, what, episode 3 or 4 of season
Yeah.
1, and before that to set this stuff up. So it's kind of trying to have
Big.
you connect those
Okay.
things because it's never been really talked about. It's like this is
Right.
like the first time it's been re-referenced of you and your friends, meaning Illyrio and
Right.
Mopatis, have set this up and sold me off to, a barbarian.
Yeah,
And you
exactly.
made it
Terrible.
work. It's
Yeah.
like Varys like,
It's
and you
fine.
took that to your advantage.
I know, and look how well you did. A great job. And I love her points about, Varys, not Varys,
Viserys.
Viserys. He was cruel, stupid, and weak. Would
Hmm.
you have backed him? And he's like, "Well, no," and her questioning of his whole, whoever serves you, whoever, whatever place. And he's like, "No, look, hold up." It was just a really good scene all around. And that's the first one you get for this episode. So I was like, all right, we're in. Whew, all
Hmm.
right, cool. So that was cool.
Hey, Abby,
Um,
good takes.
Thank you.
I like it. I'll say
Uh,
that.
Thanks. Well, I hope somebody else does too.
It's probably
And if
just
you
me.
don't,
It's probably just me.
F you.
For more on that, check out the cat fight on Johnny Be
Yeah,
Crazy stream after this. Abby is
that's
dropping some bombs.
some
We'll talk
bombs.
about that more of that in
Okay,
a few minutes.
more on that later. Next,
Stay tuned for
John,
more information.
things that don't go as expected. First off, on this little mini one, John takes Sansa's advice or looks to her for counsel. "Hey, I got this letter. What do you think?" "Good job, John." Like, good.
He's learning.
Well, yes, like, and he should. It's not like something we should tiptoe or eggshell around, but he really should look to her. She knows Tyrion very well. John's had the space of one trip up to The wall?
It was a formative thing for him, though. Like, I actually just
Right.
rewatched that episode, and it was like, yeah, I mean, that's kind of almost his coming of age thing of
Yes.
the fish scales off the eyes of like, you were the only one that told me what
Mhm.
it really was like.
But he has one good trip with Tyrion to
Mhm.
base his entire opinion on, which he could have the whole wrong take. You
Yeah.
could be a decent person for a weekend
Yeah,
or
I
camp
I
out.
could be. I'm trying. I
I
try every once in a while. It just
but
usually I fail.
she was married to him,
Mhm.
not like, "Oh, we chose," like, she was forced to get married to him, and she is still saying Tyrion is a decent person. So
Mhm.
we both are on board. That gives good reps. Tyrion,
Yep.
um, Davos even joins in, "Hey, dragons have fire! Fire kills White Walkers. This could be cool, but it's too dangerous." You're right. So we're all on board. Everybody's on the board, and Sam's fucking letter comes, and here we are in the hall again with John making proclamations. He's going to Dragonstone.
He
Not as expected.
but he did take the counsel, right?
Oh, yes.
And he makes good points. You know, like it
I don't fault John at
yeah.
all for his points that he made, but again, I think Sansa's like, "Fuck." Like,
Again, bro?
really?
Like I thought we got through
Exactly,
this.
exactly. So, last point on that, well, we have a whole scene afterwards with John and, what's his name? Littlefinger,
Oh yeah.
and that's pretty intense. Oh, yeah, and "Don't you touch my sister." I like when we big brother, like, that makes me feel warm and fuzzy. But in the hall or at the meeting or whatever you call it, the gathering, there's this look Microfinger gives, and it's almost like, I don't know, like if he's concerned or excited, it's just him being him. And I'm like, every face you make is annoying to me. Please just go to Project Blue Book and don't come back. Okay.
That is a
Thanks.
good show. I've
It's a
seen a
super
little bit
good
of it. I've seen
show.
like an episode twice because it was on back to
Oh,
back. It was
yeah.
good.
Oh, it's very, very good. I am a fan. I recommend.
Much
Um,
recommend on what
yep.
his History Channel. Is that right?
History Channel. Yep. Hey, look, it's about history.
Hey, kind of.
So, kind of. Um, next, we're gonna go through this one quick. You are my weakness. And Masandi's like, hold up, bitch, what'd you just say to me?
Oh hell no!
I, yeah, like, it's so sweet and nice, and you just picked the wrong words, bro.
You're talking to literally a language expert, and you
Right.
fuck up like that. It's like,
Yeah.
but she does give him a chance.
Yeah, she does. And she's intelligent enough to understand the sentiment
Mm-hmm.
not
Yep.
sediment.
Sentiment.
Sentiment
She understands
behind it.
sediment too, but
Yeah.
she's not a geotechnical expert or anything like that.
I'm
So
so glad you're here. You make me sound so smart. And so yeah, that wasn't as expected, Grey Worm. Neither was the fireworks after. Bow chicka wow
right,
wow.
scissor me timbers.
Man, heck yeah. Way to go, guys. Next, because I did more than Luke told me I could, we're gonna moving on. Uh, Ari's lunch date with Hot Pie. Hey Hot
Yeah,
Hey Hot Pie. Hey Ari. Wow. I can't believe you thought you were a boy. You're kind of pretty.
you're
Or you
kind
are
of
pretty.
cute. Yeah,
And she's like, thanks. It was super cute and awesome. And then we get the why aren't you going back to Winterfell? Why would I?
it's a bad idea, bro.
She I didn't realize she had no idea.
Things are moving quick, and I think that's
It,
kind of what it's trying to show. Is like there's been some big
right.
changes in the
Quick.
north and in the south, right?
But where is she getting like her info from? I would imagine there's some type of paper or town crier,
Probably
but
the
she's
moon door be
right.
unreliable at best.
Terrible. Never
Awful,
writes anything. It's whatevs. But
just terrible.
um yeah, so, like, she had no idea, and that didn't go as expected. I mean, we're headed to King's Landing, and it's very quiet, but if you have the caps on,
Hmm.
the whatever, um, somebody's like, "Oh, yeah, I wonder if we're gonna make it to Winterfell," and they head this way, and she doesn't, so,
Right.
yeah, that's cool.
I think that's supposed to
Uh,
be like almost like the group that she was gonna travel along with. I guess
possibly
going
yeah,
down to King's Landing or whatever.
yeah, and I love, like, she's like, "Do you got any ale?" Yeah, and she just grabs it herself and downs it.
Down the
She's my
hatch.
girl. So next thing that doesn't go as planned, we'll go with the Archmaester's choice to not treat Jorah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Archmaester Hylas, he died of grayscale, but he did successfully cure 2 advanced adult cases. So that's awesome.
Do you
And
want me to tell you how he died?
yeah,
Yeah, grayscale.
too dangerous. You're not doing it. Sorry, Archmaester. There, it's not gonna go as you expect. Sam to the rescue. That's awesome.
I love their interaction. Like when he just
Yeah.
walks in, he's like, "Knew your pops, good guy. He
Yes.
died kind of fighting for me.
Yep.
I kind of owe you this one. Like
And
I'm
I
gonna do
he
my best."
saved Sam's life. Like, "No, you will get up and walk.
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
you will not stop, Sam. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care." He gave him no choice. So, it was really super awesome. Yeah, "I'm gonna need you to not scream." Like, he's ripping flesh off, so yeah.
He goes
Yeah,
and cuts again. That
I
little
need
he's biting down on the leather strap. He's
yes.
like,
You're gonna need to do all of this, like, all, because
and
this is
before he
gonna
does, Sam takes a big swig out of
yeah.
it.
Like, such bravery and such a I don't wanna say cowardly, that's not how I see Sam, but not your average hero or not that face of the rebellion or face
Hmm.
of the champion. He's the guy behind the scenes that is making shit happen,
Yeah,
and he's always been that guy. It's
always.
just nice to see, like, a real in your face, "Look at what he can do." We or John saw that in him, I don't know, maybe episode 3, 4, 5, after he kinda, like, buys into the whole thing, and here it is. Here's why he's important.
I
Here's
mean,
why you
homeboy killed a
graduate
White
him.
Walker.
Yeah, I mean,
I
what
mean,
more do
come
you want?
on.
And lastly, of our things that don't go as planned, we had an awesome war council with Danny, Olenna. Well, really, it was just because Olenna was there.
Hmm.
I get that there was a ton of women around, and in the after thing, they're like, it's not often you see women talking about battle and strategic plans in like the war room. So it was cool, but basically, I just loved it because I love Olenna. And we had this great plan, which sounded fantastic. It's not going to go as planned
You don't think so?
because no, the Greyjoys, Euron, yeah, yeah. What the hell? I mean, poor Yara's night was looking up. Like, it was looking like it was gonna be satisfying and exciting. I mean, Theon, maybe a womp womp kinda night, but, you know
That's kind of his womp womp life.
yeah, exactly. Sorry. But, yeah, so we're headed south and, Euron says, "No, you're not." And, so that did not go as planned.
How'd you like his entrance?
Euron's?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just straight every time he comes on, he kinda doesn't disappoint,
just gets a
and
little better each time.
yeah, and, like, he's Ramsay, like, I what's, like, that visceral hate, like, I hated him.
Hmm.
Come on and be like, "Anything you say, I just" boiling anger, like, seething from me, and Euron, though, I'm kinda like, "Well, he's fun to not
Yeah,
like, you're a fun bad guy."
yeah.
So, that's kinda how I feel about him, those were my initial thoughts.
Okay. I
Um,
I disagree with all of them, but good try.
Thank you.
You have a couple days to mull it over.
I know, I'll get
Actually,
better.
you don't. It's just a little over a day because I think we are recording tomorrow night after Citadel of Trivia.
Okay.
Um, so go to trivia, come here afterwards, and we will see you there. Anything else we need to chat about right now?
My
Your
predictions, because 'cause we're doing
predictions.
it here.
Yep. So
Mhm.
you have 3 predictions for us.
Tonight, yes.
All right, let's go for it.
So, this one, again, the predictions are getting harder as we get closer, I guess,
You're running out of material to guess
yeah,
upon.
like yeah. So,
Three is enough,
I
and it's
think
company.
my, prediction first one is gonna be about Dany. I think she finds reassurance in what Olenna advises about being the dragon,
Hmm.
but this is why I was trying to write this out, and I'm like, "This is what we've been saying." She's still going to listen to Tyrion, but she's gonna do whatever she wants. Like, she'll take the advice from here and there and there, and then decide as Dany would choose. The best, most Dany way to do it,
Right.
giving
You can be
everybody their
as
say.
diplomatic and political as you'd like to be. Your strength is what got you here.
Exactly. I do think that we will see Dany be a dragon this season, and not just like I think we're gonna
Be a dragon. Be a
yes,
dragon. Be
be
a dragon.
a dragon. A dragon. A dragon.
Okay, I like it. We've got.
That was totally wrong, but it's cool. It was close.
It's good enough for YouTube. They appreciate it.
Thanks. I wish I would have done it right though, but I had my mic here and I didn't want to slam it down, so
your studio etiquette prevented you from doing it.
And I don't think I think we're gonna see some battles coming up with like where her dragons are used, but I think it's gonna be more like somebody doesn't like bend the knee or whatever, and she's like, fine, blast them. So
okay,
like or
there's gonna be some defiance, and she's gonna rain fire
instead of like, okay, we'll have a trial, you're gonna go to the cells. No, she's gonna be like, look, this is the way it is. You're done.
These are your options.
Right, okay. Exactly.
Okay.
Next, I always say this lady's name wrong or right, so it always makes me nervous. Alaria. Alaria. All right, that sounds like a good song. And Yara, I think maybe this is. I think this is maybe kind of obvious, unless I'm completely wrong. Are Cersei's gifts from Euron? I think they're going to be wrapped up in bows, and I know
just those two.
Yeah, I mean, like the heads of those two houses, they know that they were going against them or whatever, and so now we have the head of your house there, south and east, wherever, that are the fighting. So you better stop fighting us now because we don't want to have a 4-sided war.
Okay.
So good. And lastly, this one I'm kind of excited about. I think that Nymeria will save Arya's life.
Okay.
I don't think, and she does the whole, that's not you. I don't think Nymeria is going to be like her dire wolf that she can what's it called? Warg into. Yeah. So that will never happen for Arya. And I'm pretty sure I said that after she sent her away in season 1. Absolutely sure. But I do think that Nymeria has enough like higher level thinking that she recognizes obviously Arya and will make it a point of keeping an eye on her and being around even if we don't see her, and at some point will save the day.
Well, you quite literally never turn your back on the wolf pack.
See?
So
there you go.
All right.
As Glenn would say.
The show's just better with Glenn.
I know. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, guys. We're going to have just a Glenn only show at one point. Just
highest ratings ever.
Wow. This is what we've always wanted.
Thank God they shut up.
Screw off, Hogan's like Glenn talk. So, thanks, Abby, for doing your initial thoughts again. I think this is a lot of fun because now we are going to roll into Luke, Ben, and Glenn's initial takes as season 7 aired. For this episode 7, season 2, Stormborn. We recorded this sometime the week after it originally aired. Until then, please do find us on Radio Public to listen to our podcast episodes there. Follow us on Twitter and all those fun things at Know and Drink. What else was I going to say? There were things. If you're catching just this as a podcast episode, the original podcast MP3 is available in your RSS podcast feed now. So if you're not watching live on YouTube, you're just getting Abby's initial thoughts as its own standalone thing. Go back to the very beginning of the podcast stream, your whole list of shows. Those episodes that we're talking about are now live again. So check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/stayimaginary, and I'm getting ready to go jump in the live chat. So, until next time.
As always, I still don't know, so I'll just drink.
And as always, stay imaginary.
How do you know this?
That's what I do. I drink, and I know things.
Oh, it doesn't auto-click the button for me. I'm kidding. All right, here comes the rebroadcast of Season 7, Episode 2 from 2017. Love you, chat. Chatterbugs.
Welcome to the podcast, Drinks and Nose Things. I'm your host, Ben.
But are
Joined
we
again
all
this week
here?
with Glenn and our new member of the show, Riley. Luke will be coming down in just a second. He had to run and do some stuff. Actually, hang on. Start this over.
Yeah. Feel pretty good about Brian.
Well, yeah. Brian, do you want to be Brian or Decker, or how do you want to be introduced?
Brian's fine.
Okay.
What are you drinking?
We were drinking Hurricanes in honor of Stormborn. All right. So we're going to be starting over again. So 5, 4, 3. Welcome to the podcast that drinks and knows things, where we take you through each episode of Season 7 of Game of Thrones. This week, we'll be reviewing Season 7, Episode 2, titled Stormborn. I'm your host, Ben. Along with me is co-host
Glenn
and Luke. And joining us this week via Hangouts is Brian, and in studio is Riley. Thank you, guys. This week, we are drinking, in honor of Stormborn, a good old hurricane.
Hurricane season.
Better watch out. All right, guys. So,
Brian, out of the studio, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a homemade brown ale.
Ooh,
very nice.
Yummy.
Very nice.
Quite delicious.
All right. So, on the last episode, we were reintroduced to some of our favorite characters. We saw Arya taking out House Frey and then heading down to take out the Queen. We saw Jon up in Winterfell dealing with his people. Trying to remember exactly what. I hadn't even started drinking yet, and I'm putting my notes down for this section. So, but saw Jon there, and then we saw Dany arrive at Dragonstone. And we have a little guest in the studio messing with our camera, and that's all right. And by the way, if you're interested, you can try to catch us on Twitch when we live stream. We're trying to do Monday nights for these episodes. However,
just check Twitter.
Yeah,
we're being fairly inconsistent. So
yeah,
just check the Twitter notifications.
Exactly. We'll get better. We're still fairly new to this. So, all right. So, Luke, would you like to do the episode description for this week?
I would love to. HBO's provided description says, Daenerys receives an unexpected visitor. Jon faces resistance. Tyrion plans the conquest of Westeros. Cersei gathers her allies. Arya has a reunion with old friend. And Sam risks his career and life. Okay, we'll go get a different one. All right, so that's what HBO gave us.
All right, excellent. So, first scene, we start off at Dragonstone, where we ended last episode. We have Dany confronting Lord Varys about serving Robert Baratheon after he switched sides from her pop, after he fell. What do you think of this scene, Luke?
I like that, they have like the whole, she doesn't want to be the Queen of the Ashes, or, Tyrion says, you don't want to be the Queen, let's just not go and conquer, because that's easy. She's good at that. It's the ruling side, which she's had to learn, and she's done a good job. And I like that, Varys also kind of goes into the, you have to earn the loyalty of him and the people. And that's kind of the role that he seems to be playing. Yeah. So they kind of get right to the point on that, and I like the way they did it.
Exactly. Glenn?
As far as, of course, at the end of the scene, when Melisandre comes into the fold, she kind of introduces, hey, we got the prince that was promised, and then she's like, well, there could be two of them, and then another one is Jon Snow, and everyone just kind of like, who the hell is Jon Snow? And everyone just kind of dumbfounded that, this bastard just is like the king of the north, and then Tyrion is just like, oh, Jon Snow, I like that guy.
Right. I did like or not like, actually found it quite annoying as soon as Missandei pops in her yes man. Well, princess, well, queen, it could be the princess that was promised. Dany was automatically like, oh yeah, that's me. Screw you. It might not be. Just because you got dragons doesn't mean crap. Brian, how about Brian? How about you? What'd you think of the first scene, the opening scene of Dragons?
I thought the interesting part of this scene was definitely when Melisandre was introduced in Dragonstone. And the reveal of the prince that was promised could be referring to a princess or queen was something that I think the books kind of fleshed out a little better in the show, how it was revealed. But it definitely opens up a new avenue for the show to take, and kind of maybe not necessarily pitting John against Danny, but there's definitely something there of who fans are going to be rooting for of the savior of the show, John versus Danny, and it's going to be interesting next episode. It looks like they're going to meet, so I'm looking forward to that.
Definitely, Bradley.
Well, I think the biggest thing for me this episode is how Varys kind of takes a beat, and obviously, as the new queen, she wants Varys to answer for why he's such a traitor, or he always switches sides. But while that makes sense to me, it seemed like this is really the first scene that Varys doesn't have the upper hand in. Every time he talks to somebody, he always has a plan or always has a step ahead of somebody. It seems like him. While I think he said the right things, the things that he had to say to persuade her, it just seemed weird that this is the first time he really didn't have the upper hand in the conversation.
He was caught off guard, I think, by the whole thing, and it's from season 1 when Robert ordered the kill on Danny, and things were set in motion.
Right. And I'll be slipping away for just a second. But yeah, with that scene too, I loved how Danny, or how Varys just basically spitfire truth at Danny, telling her, "Oh yeah, your Robert was better than your father. He at least was a decent person. He didn't want to be king. He sucked being king, but he was a good person. And now, are you as bad as your father, or are you willing to do what's best for the people?" And it's like, yes, thank you. Somebody not letting her just walk all over because, she's the queen of dragons and all this other crap, so.
And you'd think that if you're going to step in and confront all your generals that you have around the round table, you would have maybe done that on the ships on the way over, before you're getting ready to send all your armies out.
Right.
It seems like a little late.
It is what it is.
All right. Anybody got anything else on the Dragonstone area?
I'm just seeing. They come back here in a few scenes.
Right. Yeah, we'll come back in a little bit. So our next scene is we're being joined by another house mascot.
Our fourth co-host.
All right. Is Winterfell. Glenn, why don't you kick us off on Winterfell?
Okay, yeah. Jon Snow is standing in Winterfell with Sansa and Davos. Jon receives a letter from Tyrion, basically stating like, "Hey, we're here at Dragonstone. Come to Dragonstone. Bend the knee," or whatever he said. They don't really say, but Sansa's trying to be like, well, it could be a ruse, and Jon basically said the last line. What do they say?
We're all bastards.
No, yeah, dwarves are bastards.
Yeah, that was one of the last things that Tyrion said to Jon Snow before he left the wall in season 1.
So now, okay, Luke, how do you feel about? Thanks, buddy. How do you feel about Sansa showing doubts and everything of Tyrion's honesty? Well, you can put that right there.
I think she's definitely learned a lot about the people involved that Jon doesn't know, especially like Littlefinger and Cersei and Tyrion. So she's seen a different side to them than what Jon has heard about. So I can see, or I guess this is the doubt about going to Dragonstone, right? Or
about trusting Tyrion and the Queen and
I mean, I think she's definitely supposed to be his constant vigilance check on, hey, you can't just always, use a sword to get out of a situation. which a lot of times he's kind of been able to. He's learned how to, be a leader as well.
Yeah.
But most of the time, he's still been able to swing a sword as a death sentence, or swing a sword as getting away from the Night's King. And so I think he needs to kind of listen to her for sure, which he is, but use Davos as kind of the fulcrum on which you kind of balance that stuff out.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that she's questioning it and making him just kind of think through it a little bit more, because he's never really had to do that.
Yeah, and I do like this scene too, because it's actually them talking together instead of in front of the whole room where like before he's basically just oh yeah, here's what's going on, and she just calls him out. At least she can do it in private and do it that way. And now also in the staying in Winterfell, instead of jumping back and forth chronologically the show, we then have Jon telling his lords that a raven from Sam and one from Dragonstone, basically, and the one from Sam saying, yep, there's Dragonglass Dragonstone, and the one we just discussed from Tyrion. And Jon's like, well, we're going, or I'm going, so piss off. And piss them all off. How do you guys feel about that?
I think it's interesting that the audience of the court, I guess, kind of flip-flops with them pretty quickly. Like, first they're really excited about Dragonglass, like, oh yeah, we need to go mine it, and they're on his side. But then when he says he has to go, they instantly are just like, oh,
you can't do that because you're a king of the north.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, that makes sense, I guess, because, Ned went south, he died. Robb went south, he died. Kings of the north go south, they die. But it's the same time, like Jon said, we don't have much of an option. We got to do what we got to do. Brian, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I'm on the same page with all that. I think the biggest development in these scenes was Sansa's character, and I think a lot of fans are worried about what her story arc is going to be the rest of the season, because her biggest role models so far have been Cersei and Littlefinger.
Yeah,
and she's back in that wardrobe they gave her at the end of season 4 after her aunt died.
Yeah,
like she's actually going to do something this season.
Hopefully.
Right.
So I think she disagrees a lot with most of the decisions that Jon has made since they've been reunited. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic going forward between Sansa and Jon.
It'll be interesting to see how she takes Winterfell, like what direction she takes it when it's under her command.
Yeah,
it was weird because she's like, oh, Jon, what do you have to stay here. Like, who's going to be in charge of Winterfell? He's like, you are. And she's like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
sure,
And then Microfinger with his little, shit's falling into place.
Shit-eating grin.
Right. And then the very next scene, we see, or not next scene, but in that same aspect, we see Jon down in the crypts checking out Ned's statue. And also Lyanna's statue, I noticed. So it's kind of one of those interesting little tidbits. But Littlefinger joins them down there, starts talking shit, about this and then how much he loves Sansa, and a good little callback to season 1 when Ned slammed Littlefinger up against the wall by the throat. Jon does the exact same thing.
Pretty much identical scene.
Yeah. So it's one of those of let's hopefully see that Jon doesn't have the same outcome, and that has a bit more sense than to trust Ned did.
One big difference is Catelyn wasn't standing over the whole situation.
It's true. Yeah. Very much so. So, all right. Anybody got any other notes on the North?
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's one thing to see Jon Snow just taking a man's word as what it's worth, because he has what Tyrion said to him has just kind of convinced him to go down a Dragonstone. I think that's pretty neat.
Yeah. One thing I also had spoilers and speculations, but I'm very interested to see when Davos makes it to Dragonstone and finds Melisandre there.
Yep.
Yeah. Just to see if maybe he might talk Dany into barbecuing up some.
And that's what it's going to have to be is but he's got to talk dating into doing because they're not in the north where John could make that call.
Yeah.
Well, John did say if you ever sees you up north again, he's gonna.
Right.
True.
Yeah. But she's down south. True.
Yeah, I think. All right, I think one more note on that area was Davos's interest in using the dragons.
Yeah.
He seemed pretty
Dragonman.
Yeah, being a dragonman. So interested to see where that goes.
Well, I think it kind of falls on his common knowledge, not to like downplay it at all, but he's not a learned man.
Right. Yeah.
He's was a cunning sailor, but I feel like he's obviously smarter than the average
Bear.
Smuggler bear.
Average.
Well, he's been
smuggler,
handed 2 different kings. Well,
Exactly.
Unofficially.
But it's just he's the guy who's like dragon burn. Yeah, to use that. Like it's just that's what his character would think.
There's not a whole lot of characters that are kind of concerned with the Night's King. I think John and Davos are one and two.
Yeah,
right. That's why the discussion in the North is so interesting. Is it's the first time in the show that you really see a group of people planning against a supernatural force or against the White Walkers. It's like the rules of the show don't really apply anymore to this discussion. There's actually a greater threat out there.
Right, exactly. Right. The dance party. All right, Luke is back. All right, we are moving on to King's Landing. We first see. Actually, I'll let Bradley or Luke take this one.
Bradley, go for it.
King's Landing, we see Cersei in front of her court, right? So she's pretty much playing into exactly what we see later Tyrion predicts, which is she's trying to present Daenerys and her army as vandals and outsiders to try and win over the favor of her lords and to get them to fight for her. The interesting part of the scene to me is that after she presents this, we have the scene with Jaime and Randall Tarley where he offers him essentially to be the warden of the South, trying to get him to turn against Queen Olenna. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, agreed. And yeah, it was kind of one of those. Yeah, Cersei wasn't lying. She didn't. She wasn't using the whole. Oh, this is going to happen. This. She was basically telling. Yep, she's brought eunuchs and Mongols and and these warlords over here, and they're going to rape and pillage you. And it's kind of one of those of. And the tactics she used makes sense to the xenophobic, kind of mentality that they have.
Yeah, they're definitely speaking directly to like the Tarleys' bigotry and xenophobia. Like that seems like a pretty common thing around Westeros because they've been, King Robert was terrified of a Dothraki horde taking it over. Just when they found out that Daenerys was getting married to Khal Drogo or Khal Drogo, and and it seems like it's a pretty common thing that a lot of the commoners are just terrified of. And she brought a lot of different foreign weapons to this game.
One thing I had to do during this scene is I actually had to restart it when I was originally watching it because I got sidetracked and the new King's Guard armor. It went from gold armor to like black jet armor. And I was wondering at what point do the Lannister men realize that they are fighting on the wrong side? If the King's Guard now look like they're evil knights in the
it's kind of like I forget what show it is. I think it's the Kids Next Door or something. It's are we the baddies?
I should probably realize that by now. There's something in armor.
I see Ed Sheeran doing that. Just walking down, singing Ena's Rabbit, and being like, "Are we the baddies now?" Just wondering.
Seems pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing that George R. R. Martin has always said that he doesn't want to make a story about this is the bad guy, this is the good guy. Everybody thinks they're the good guy, and so I think it's just another part that is playing into every character's interests, and it's just kind of how we're perceived that the Lannisters and her vassals are the bad guys from our lens.
Right. My big point about this is you could see the desperation, at least in Jaime's eyes, and not as much as Cersei, but I think Jaime kind of knows like we need to get as much rallying support as we can, before Daenerys attacks.
He really seems like the only one put together still. He's like actually Cersei's got the Iron Throne, and to her, she doesn't have to do anything to keep it. It kind of seems like she's got it, and now she's got everything.
Yeah.
But she really doesn't. Like Jaime's sitting there telling her, "We are going to lose everything if we don't bring together all the forces that we can." So I think he's going to be pivotal in these next 2 episodes for the Lannister house. What's left of
Jaime
her.
will.
Yeah.
One last note I have for here is I did find it hilarious. Jaime calling Dickon Rickon. He can't. There's so many goddamn people on the show. He can't even keep them all straight. It's just like, come on.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And especially because it's a new actor playing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like an easy way of getting. You are this character that we already met last year once.
For the audience,
It's like every time Dario Naharis would change, it'd be like, "There's Dario Naharis."
Yeah. Where's Dario? Oh, he's down by the river.
This is him here. Shake his head.
Who was the other one that got recast?
Mountain 3 times.
Mountain. Yeah, Mountain got recast 3 times, and then what's his name? The Last King.
Tommen.
Tommen. He was recast. He was aged up. So it's just like, okay.
That actor actually played 2 characters in the show.
Yeah, he was a Lannister cousin.
Yeah, he was the one that got killed by Jaime. Or no, sorry, the Karstarks. Yeah, killed by the Karstarks. Yeah. So, all right, moving on to the next scene. We are in Old Town. We see Samuel, Archibald Everos, and Jorah the Explorer in Jorah's cell there. Jorah's covered in grayscale from his arm to his chest. Who knows how far down it's gotten? New word to us, being a stone man.
Think about that.
Any thoughts on this scene? We have Sam basically trying to talk Erebos into letting him try a treatment once he finds out who Jorah's daddy is. But Erebos is like, well, the last guy who tried it died of grayscale, so that's why we don't do it.
I thought there were a lot of interesting things that came out of this scene for me. And the first one was the passage of time. Because the last time we saw Jorah, he had a small blotch on his arm, and it's turned into what we saw this episode. So
I was thinking,
last episode of season 6, there was a lot of passage of time that I think some people missed over or didn't realize, and that was a good way to kind of ground us back into how much time has actually passed since last season.
Yeah, I think they tried to do that last episode too with the whole Sam shit soup montage. Basically, from what I've heard, people are talking. It's been about 8 to 9 months or so since Sam got to the Citadel, which was about the same time Jorah left behind thing. So we're looking at close to a year of of spread. He only has I think they said 6 months till it completely envelops his brain.
Yep. I thought it was pretty interesting that Archie knew about Crescent trying to help Shireen. I mean, I think they made it pretty clear in the book that Stannis really went around trying to get whatever help he could from the Maesters. And the fact that it was, that Archibald knew about Crescent being successful with an infant was just a cool throwback that the Maester network is. It really is a thing. They talk a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think we get some insights into the Maester mindset. We see Sam. He's a brother of the Night's Watch. He's been told that he's cowardly his whole life, but actually, it seems like he's the bravest one in the Citadel. He is trying to make something happen, whether it's to learn more about Dragonglass, whether it's save Jorah's life. He's willing to put his own life at risk to go and help make something happen, which it seems like all the other Maesters, or at least the one who he's training under, is really just interested in saving himself and keeping their knowledge for the realm, which is just an interesting mindset.
Yeah, it reminded me of after the battle at the Fist of the First Men, when Sam was struggling walking back south. The Lord Commander, which is Jorah's dad, like assigned people to make sure Sam kept moving. So he basically saved Sam's life there. Felt like Sam owed him.
Yeah, like he ordered him not to die. He's like, I'm ordering you not to die. You have to keep moving. And I think that was the turning point in Sam's mentality of, oh, I'm just Craven. Because first thing he said, like one of the first words I was, I'm Craven, you know. That's why I'm at the wall. And you can see in that turning point from the books and the show, that's when he was like, okay, maybe I'm not. I've done stuff or I'm doing stuff. And now, yeah, like Riley said, yeah, he's one of the bravest guys in the entire show or in the entire series.
I think since Sam's been to the Citadel, like at least when he's with Archmaester Ambrose, you've had this like father-son relationship or something like that where I'm going to ask my father, if I can go play at the park or something like that, and just keep asking, and there's like, oh, no, and then finally, fuck it, I'm going to go to the park and, deal with the repercussions later, keep it on the down low. That's kind of what Sam is going through, like, it's like trying to hint at, hey, I there might be a way to cure this grayscale, like, we should think about this, and he gets shut down by Evros, but then he just finally decides to break through and just do something about it.
All right. I think that's all the notes I have over there.
I had one other thing that I noticed was before going to see Jorah, the Archmaester, and I can't remember his name, but he was talking to Sam about the book he's writing, and he called it The Chronicles of the Wars Following the Death of King Baratheon the First. And I think it was hilarious because really he's writing Game of Thrones with that book.
Yeah. Could it be something more poetic, like A Song of Ice and Fire, maybe? Or something along those lines. Yeah.
I laughed a lot at that one. I thought that was pretty great.
Yeah, I did like that one too. So, and then the final shot of that scene, we see Sam digging into a little skin hair or whatever, and then all of a sudden some nice pus jumps out, and it is a pot pie at the end of the crossroad. So you see two soldiers or two commoners eating some hot pot or some hot pot pie, and all of a sudden, look up, we see Arya, and she gets called out as Aerie from Hot Pie. What is hot shall always pie. I liked it as a callback. Him coming around, basically, and him being her juxtaposition of saying, "Oh, what are you doing? I'm gonna go kill the queen." And he's like, "Oh, okay. I figured you would have gone up north since John's, king of the north now." And Arya had no idea. She knew Cersei was queen. She knew the Freys were all where they were, but no clue about, King of the North, her brother, who she loves. Yeah, I was like, okay. Kind of makes sense, I guess. But
I think this is one of those situations that you don't realize it because you see like Cersei and all these people that have all these knowledge of everything, but like some of these characters just don't have like the internet or anything like that. They can
Most of them don't.
They can just Brand's the King of the North on Facebook.
Brand's got weird with that net.
He just tweeted
changed his job for his relationship status.
Yeah.
King of the North.
So there's a lot of people just don't know what's going on, unless you're like really important.
Right. I think this is an interesting scene because there's not many scenes in the show anymore that we see a character learn something that instantly changes their entire direction. Arya for the past 2 seasons has planned on getting stronger, going home, killing Cersei. Now she finds out that Jon's still alive and is in charge of Winterfell.
Yeah.
Like, there's not many other specific scenarios where a character learns something and instantly changes, like, something that dire. So I think we see a big change in Arya right there.
Yeah.
And the start of a new journey for her. Almost.
She goes through that crossroads. at the end of the crossroads.
Yeah, exactly. Down at the crossroads. All right, we're back. Call it to another podcast.
I think Arya is an easy character to root for most people, but if you really take a step back and look at her character, she's kind of losing a lot of, I don't know, almost her humanity and the ruthless killing she's doing. This is an interesting scene to watch her turn north instead of go south, because kind of old Arya coming back, being a Stark again instead of an assassin.
Right. Yeah, I liked how this scene opened up with cutting into the hot pie right after the salmon Jorah.
Yeah.
And that there was a pretty good pie reference with you got to burn the butter.
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh, I didn't do that.
I didn't do that."
He's like, "When did you make a pie?"
That was hilarious.
Do you even make pie? What's with all those people making pie?
Hot Pie talking to Arya, giving her the speech about how to actually make a hot pie or how to make pies or whatever.
Yeah.
And while he's also asking her if the Night Lady found her, it's funny because that's the same speech that he was giving Brienne when she was there. She's telling her, "Oh, this is how you get to put butter in the pie."
Oh, yeah, I missed it. Yeah, nice catch.
Before we get too far, we do cheers for hot pie.
Cheers for hot pie.
Back on the show.
He knows and bakes things.
Yes.
I'm drinking as well.
Nice.
Cheers to.
We got you in there, Brian, too. Don't worry about it.
Now, staying on with Arya, a little bit later in the episode, we see her by her fire, just chilling, heading north, getting ready to make that long ride, and all of a sudden, the wolf pack full of life shows up, head by the great and wonderful Nymeria. The two make eye contact, and Nim has this look like, "Yeah, bitch, I remember you. You hit me with a rock," and turns her back and walks away. Any feelings on this scene, guys?
What?
I just thought they haven't really shown a lot of direwolf, and just to see that direwolf compared to all the other wolves,
Yeah,
it was pretty neat to see.
Yeah, no,
One of
definitely.
the direwolves left.
Exactly, and I do know that they're trying to get away from the wolves storyline because the CGI cost of them, and they can't get them to look just right, kind of thing. But it's like, come on, that Nymeria story, that to me, that is one that I've been dying for.
I was kind of lost in that scene. Honestly, I didn't know what the what the plot movement was in that scene, and I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it again, and it's gonna be interesting to see where Arya's story picks off next episode. Because I think she's either one of two things that didn't really affect her. She's gonna keep going north, and that was a wasted scene, or she realized that her heading north isn't her, and she's gonna turn back south, which is what I think will happen based off that scene. But I'm really looking forward to Arya's first scene.
You're not welcome back in the north right now, or kind of thing.
I could see that. I could personally, speculation of my own. I see them using Nim and her wolf pack as a deus ex machina that Martin loves to do. With basically Arya's about to get killed, and then oh shit, here they come, kind of thing. That's my call thought on it. But I think Arya does make. I think Arya's making it back to Winterfell at the very end of this season.
I think. See where Brian's coming from though, because the whole what she says to Nymeria is "that's not you." Is the same thing that she says about herself when she in the first season when she's being told to crochet or knit or whatever, be a lady.
Be a good girl.
But I also think that she was saying that about herself with the House of Black and White. That's not you. She's,
I don't know. It's up to.
She's growing up.
Yeah,
she's figuring things out on her own.
I think it also kind of points to her longingness that she didn't realize that she wants to be back a part of the pack.
Yeah.
But it's going to take some work to do it. So, with the Nymeria not necessarily buying it right away, it might be, John's not going to have a hard time welcoming her back.
Yeah.
Sansa will.
I think Sansa will. I think that's going to be a big thing.
Arya would have a bigger problem accepting Sansa than Sansa would accepting Arya. Oh, absolutely.
I disagree.
What's Arya done to piss Sansa off? Nothing. Sansa sold out their father.
Not on purpose.
Not on
She
purpose,
doesn't
but
know that. Arya doesn't
I
know
think
that
that'll
at all.
become.
Just saying.
Speculation. Can we throw that out there? Yeah. I think that's going to be a leverage point for Microfinger trying to turn Sansa and Arya against each other. He throws out that Sansa did that, tells Arya.
I don't think Littlefinger makes it too much longer.
Yeah, kind of agree with you on that one.
I think something to keep in mind, and they didn't touch on it, but Bran is at the wall. So we're talking about possible reunions, like they could have Bran coming down too, or something like that.
Bran's at Winterfell.
No, Bran's at the wall.
I know.
Bran. I did Bran.
Oh, Brienne.
No.
Yeah. No.
Bran at the wall. I'm with you.
Yeah, Brian. We're just making sure because I'm so sick.
Yeah, these technical difficulties, I can't always hear what Brian's saying.
Yeah, he's a little.
Yeah.
So, I apologize. I'm sure you have some great stuff, but I'm just not hearing. I'll hear it later.
Wow.
All right. So
tell them what you really feel.
All right. So
it was like a half hour into the show and tell me that.
All right, moving on. We head down to King's Landing, and Luke, what happened now in King's Landing?
Which time?
The second time with Cersei and Qyburn.
Oh, so the Cersei and Qyburn, we start learning what Qyburn's secret weapon against.
Secret weapon.
At least against Valerian, the Black Death.
Black Dread.
Skull.
Black Dread. Yeah.
No, I'm gonna go with Black Death on this one. But yeah, it's definitely an effective, gigantic crossbow and scorpion.
Yeah.
And it can definitely pierce a dragon skull. So that's a pretty nice.
Oh yeah, because Tolkien came up.
Yeah, it's very very Hobbit-esque.
Hobbity.
But
no, it is. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I want to see the mountain wield that just one shoulder. Just take. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it doesn't really seem like the most effective weapon against a dragon. You get one shot.
Yeah.
And you have to really. I mean, the big problem with crossbows is they take a long time to reload. We learned that from Jamie. He's like, oh, the thing I don't like about crossbows, they take a long time to reload. He kills a guy.
Yeah.
And seems like if you're getting burned with dragon fire, you're going to want to be able to put as much firepower in the air as possible, as quickly as possible.
But who said that's the only one? That could be the difference. That he could be making multiples.
Sure, yeah. If you make it, a whole volley out of it, I mean, that could be pretty effective at piercing wings and things like that. It's
true.
We'll see. We'll see how they set it up.
Exactly. Was there anything other in the Danny lets the 3 lady? Yeah, that's the next scene.
The scene for me, the big takeaway was I realized the last season and a half I was kind of rooting for Cersei against the High Sparrow. And this scene kind of just like brought back old Cersei when you're really upset with her and hoping she doesn't get what she wants because she now has a viable weapon against Dany's dragons.
That's my favorite thing about the show, is that it makes you root for people and then makes you angry at yourself for rooting for them because it just frames it in such a way.
Yes. You're always rooting for people on both sides. You're rooting for characters, not necessarily the overall story at times.
Something to go back on the dragon skull, like it's a lot bigger than like Drogon's skull.
Yeah. Yes, as of this point.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, but now one cool thing on that scene that they did just visually, if you look, the first heads that they saw were real small because as the dragons were in captivity, the longer the Targaryens kept in captivity, the smaller and smaller they got over generations. And so Balerion being the first dragon in Westeros, at least, that's why he was so huge. But the first one you see is about the size of a cat's head or a dog's head. It's like, okay, that's a cool little visual throwback to the books and everything.
A fire-breathing cat.
Yeah, pretty much. So, all right. Moving on. Our next scene is Dragonstone again. We have Glenn. What happened in Dragonstone the second time around?
So basically, Dany and Tyrion are trying to talk up shop about what they're going to do as far as battling with King's Landing, and then after the whole congregation, Dany asks to meet with Elena alone where they can discuss some things. And then as Missandei and Grey Worm play a little game of two-hand touch football.
That was one of the longest.
Yeah, it really was. It was like a 4 to 6 minute long. You know,
I think it's important. I mean, I think it really that sex scene in particular brings some light to characters that haven't had any light in their life at all. You know, like
it's much more character driven than the sex scenes usually are.
yeah. I mean,
setting up.
I
feel like they're setting up Grey Worm's death.
panel and both I don't know how to pronounce her name, but both the actors of Grey Worm and Missandei were there, and they were both asked about it. They both kind of said how both those characters just went through so much crap in their life, you know, like getting your junk cut off, like being a slave, like. But this, like them growing together and becoming, you know, members of a court. You know, they're serving Daenerys, but they have a voice, and it really just shows like it's a happy part of their life, which is important, I think. Small gesture, but big impact for at least those characters. And then the War Room Council itself, that was an interesting take, because we get to see what Tyrion really plans on with the battle. And, you know, it's kind of easy to say, like, usually I have a lot of respect for Tyrion, and I think he's doing everything right. But usually, like, it's easy to say, put all your armies in the battle here, you know?
well, yeah. But again, he comes back with yes, we're putting all of your people up against King's Landing because basically Cersei is going to tell you, you know, tell all of her people exactly what she did of these Dothraki and Unsullied are coming and they're going to wipe you out. So instead, we're going to let the Tyrells and the Dornish, you know,
we're
do
let
it.
the Westerosi
Let the Westerosis do it.
Take away that foreign invasion.
And now, but here's the thing: my people, my house that I want fucking back, I'm taking that horde. I'm taking the Mongols and the killers with me, and I'm taking back my house. You know,
the commons really wouldn't care as much about who takes out King's Landing. You know, Castle Rock compared to King's Landing.
Exactly.
You take the seat of big thing. It's something for. Right. You take a single house.
Yeah.
Cool.
Exactly.
Also, I think it's like I was treated as a eunuch. I was treated as a monster, as a mongrel my whole life.
Yeah.
Now I'm in power, and here's how I'll treat you. You know, I think that's kind of a symbolic thing.
So yeah, no, I love it. It was perfectly executed, and yeah, I could see, you know, why Elena and Illyria were like, we're gonna. It's like, shut up. This is what your queen decided. Just go back to Cersei.
Yeah, and I think this is a good way to like tee up maybe the rest of the episode and you know the next episode or two coming out too.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've seen scenes like this gather on a map planning war. We've seen a lot with Rob. We've actually seen Stannis in this same room using the same map before, but I think this is like a different scale, different level of this kind of scene that we never saw before in the show. Planning a massive war on this caliber.
Yeah, it's almost always been like battle design till this point. This is full scale war design, like a full kingdom takeover with a two front.
This is also the same place that the first Targaryen, Aegon Targaryen, planned his conquest of Westeros.
Right.
Yeah.
Good callback.
A lot of callbacks.
So all right. Anybody got anything else to those scenes or to that scene?
I just liked the line of I'm taking the rock, you know, and then out of let's leave Dwayne Johnson out of this though.
Right. All right, moving on to the final scene of the episode. We are at sea. I'm going to assume we're in Blackwater Bay, you know, because they had just left.
Or somewhere close.
Somewhere close, because Dragonstone and King's Landing are only a bay apart. Let's say 50 miles.
The only other thing could be is the Narrow Sea, which is just in their side of Dragonstone. It
True.
kind of splits that difference.
But they were heading south, so, you know, they were already. But anyway, so we get first, you know, Yara and Illyria, you know, flirting with each other down in the bows of the ship. Illyria being a bitch to Theon basically making fun of him and making him feel less of a man, even though he is kind of less of a man. But still, shouldn't do that.
Like Grey Worm got his. So.
Yeah, Grey Worm got his. It's a dick move. Yeah. So after that, we hear a nice loud rumbling from up top, and all of a sudden, here comes my man, Euron, with a big shitting grin on his face, like, "Hi kids, I'm home." They crash in, have an epic battle. All said and done, 2 sand snakes are dead. Yay! Yara, at this point, is captured, as well as Tyene and Illyria. Anybody have any? Oh, and then
Theon pushes out.
Theon, I think, reverted back a little bit to Reek status. There was a great little shot where his face just went.
He got to reek.
You must remember your name, and then he just up and jumped. Did what he does best and jumps off things to get away.
Well, I think the Theon aspect of the scene, it's just such a journey for him. We don't get him seen as much, but like throughout the battle, obviously it's not from his perspective entirely. But Ilaria making him get some beer or get some wine at the beginning.
Yeah.
He's serving somebody again.
Yeah.
He sees people's tongues getting cut off. That's not too far different from what happened to him. Like he's seeing people die and getting tortured. He's in battle again. It's just such a PTSD trigger. And I just think this whole scene is such a journey for him. And then again, we get to see Euron just wipe the floor with the fleet.
Just go to town. Yeah. Go ham. I think, like, from the last episode, you had Euron meeting with Cersei, and you just be like, okay, you don't trust me, I'm going to go and get you a gift, and then just have something completely fall in his lap.
Right. Well, like, how does Yara not... How is she deserves to get her ass kicked. Like,
yeah, I can say wherever I want to go, and they're not going to come after me.
She's just out there, trying to get some with this sand snake lady, and all of a sudden her whole fleet's already destroyed before she
not even be like prepared to deal with it.
Right.
Yeah. No, you deserve to die.
No, absolutely. And like my thing is, the gift, it's perfect because like I love the look when they were down Illyria and Tyene were in the bottom of the ship, and the Greyjoys come down like, just kill us, and the one's like, nope. It was like, oh yes, you are the gift. You killed Marcella. Yep, you're done. Just wait till we get you to the Queen. Let's see what she's gonna do.
This ought to be rich.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. So all right,
this scene's got me real excited about the rest of the season, because we haven't seen a battle at this caliber on episode 2 in any other season.
Exactly.
So I think it's got to get bigger from here. So I know there's only 5 more episodes, but
this definitely was a good set the bar at the right level for the amount of violence and action we can hope to see for the rest of the season.
2,
yeah, exactly. Being episode 2. Sure. The only thing I'd love to say was I found it fitting that Obara and Nymeria were left on the bow of the ship, stuck there with their own weapons. I think it's Obara had the whip wrapped around her throat, was hanging there, and Nymeria was stuck with the spear.
I think other way around.
Or other way around, sorry. But they're stuck with the spear on there. It was like, okay, that's fitting. And that's just the showrunners, David and Dan, basically saying, yes, we understand. You fans hated the Sand Snakes, so we are going to come up with the most brutal way to get rid of them. So here's your fan service, okay? Shut up, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's bittersweet for me. I'm definitely in the minority that actually enjoyed those characters. So I gotta see Euron be a complete badass, and his character got a lot cooler. And the ship, his ship is called Silence, which is talked about heavily in the book.
Yeah,
and we hear stories about it, but we haven't seen it in battle, even in the books.
Exactly.
So it was really cool seeing the Greyjoy army just destroy the Sand Snakes and the other Greyjoys.
Your ship is pretty cool looking. Like, it's just a pretty, like, dwarfs other ships.
Right. 5 times bigger.
Has like 1 million sails.
Yeah. and that claw thing that comes down, like that's the biggest. Like he just rams a ship, and just claws into it, like.
But the ultimate pirate.
And that laugh at the end, like just the acting, it's like that character is so cynical. It's such a good transfer from Ramsey.
Although it's like one of them you want to root for too, because you like how crazy he gets.
And
it's just fun to see.
Yeah, great analogy. I heard he looked like Pacey's looked like the guy Joshua Jackson's older brother. You know, played Pacey in Dawson's Creek, just out on meth and all methed out and everything, like an old Joshua Jackson on meth. Like, yeah, perfect.
Dawson's Creek reference.
Yeah.
Cheers for Dawson's Creek. Drink and Dawson.
All right. So, anybody have anything else on those scenes or on that scene? Luca, you've been a little preoccupied. Understandably. Understandably, and that's okay. Our minor hosts, they
require some effort.
They require some effort.
Here's Chills. A little bit better than mine does.
Yeah, but he's only
the whole sea battle thing. I thought that was pretty well done. It was a little surprising. Sorry if I hashed some of the things you guys were already talking about.
Yeah,
it's a little surprising that no one saw them coming. Yeah. Like I realized that the ship's name is Silence, and that's kind of
foggy.
Their thing.
It was quite foggy.
And it's black sails and everything. But like nobody's job is to like specifically watch out for that shit. Yeah. Come on.
They're all looking through the cracks of Yara and Illyria.
Yeah, they were all.
You need a guy for that.
Need a guy for that. They're all up with their hands raised, waiting to come down the stairs.
My other big comment on where we're heading, I think, is definitely a strong speculation. So I'll save that.
Just throw it out there.
Save it for speculation.
Specs. You gotta like it.
All right, fine. So moving on to the end of the show. After the show. Oh, go ahead, Brian. Sorry.
The last thing I want to say was like they had like a 20 or 30-second close up on Theon at the conclusion of that battle.
Yeah.
And it was pretty amazing because last season we see him kind of get away from being Reek, and then in just one scene, all of that is lost, and he's back to being who he was at the Dreadfort or Winterfell.
Exactly. No, I had the same thing. You can see just in that transition when Euron has Yara, he's holding him, and you see Theon being tough, and he's the protector, and then you see him just slight little twitches and turns and eye shifts. And Alfie Allen,
nailed it.
Nailed it. Just that's the second episode in a row where a character just visually changed their character, in my opinion, and it was just perfect. Right as you're watching them, just in that same shot.
Yeah.
Not many acting roles make you change your character but stay the same character like 3 times, and I just think he's done an amazing job with Theon.
Agreed. So, all right. Now we're going to move on to the superlatives and a few other things. How accurate was the show's title and the show's description?
I'd say somewhat. They kind of left some things out, obviously, just they don't want to spoil anything. But the big thing I had was like they had like Arya meets with an old friend or something like that. And so you think it could be hot pie. That's the old friend, and then it's also Nymeria.
Exactly. And Gendry's still rowing the damn boat.
I think he's gonna show up here in the next 2 episodes.
I can see that. I'll say by the end of the season. Yeah. All right.
Brian, what did you think of the title of the episode?
Yeah.
You hear Stormborn, you first think Dany. And there was a mention of the storm at the beginning of the episode of storming like it was the day she was born.
Yeah.
Right.
And then, so I thought that was good. And then the last 20 minutes, well, really, when they started showing the Sand Snakes and the Greyjoys on the boats and it was storming out, I realized that something was going to go down. So I thought the episode ended up being a call out to the last scene of the battle in the storm. So I thought it was fitting title.
I agree with that. I think you can make an argument for Stormborn yet. It refers to Danny, but also maybe to Euron Stormborn. He just gained everything that he wanted from this one battle in the storm.
Yeah. See, my thing is, it's looking this way, as at least for the first 3 episodes, they're all Danny titled or Danny centric titles.
What's the third title?
Third one is Queen's Justice.
We don't know that.
I know that could be Cersei. It very well could be, and it very well probably is, since she's getting the gifts and everything. But I'm just saying, it's like, okay, Dragonstone, Danny. Stormborn, Danny. It's like, okay, we get it. You're trying to shove her down our throats. But let's, branch out. I'm an anti-Danny person. I'm going to be honest.
I agree too much almost.
I agree with that, but I think they balance everything out, and we're going to get more John stuff.
I'm hoping
later on. I think we're going north of the wall before the end of this season.
My thoughts on the title. A lot of times it seems like they really try to encompass several of the plots in the title of the episode. They've done it somewhere. There was something about mothers, and there were like 4 different mothers that played a big part in the same role.
Was last episode, season 4, I think.
Yeah.
And I think there was a lot going on with Cersei in that episode as well, and I think Catelyn.
No, it was.
I'm thinking of one earlier.
Yeah, it was Cersei.
Everybody thought it was going to be Catelyn come back as.
I think it's a different episode than I'm thinking than that.
Well, because in the one that Benji's talking about, it was like Cersei and then Hot Tyrell. What's her name? Marjorie was talking to the mother.
Tyrell. Yeah, and then also at the end was Danny. They're all saying Misa.
But Hot Tyrell.
Yeah.
Natalie Dormer, and so I liked that they lead the whole show, this episode off with the Danny Stormborn specific reference, be like, hey, that's what we're talking about. But then at the end, I do think it's actually titled after Euron being born in the storm as, Ironborn in the storm. And he's going to go and be able to get exactly what he wants from Cersei now, because he got some pretty good hostages, and Cersei's going to think that's pretty good enough to join allegiances.
No, agreed. So, all right, awesome. By the way, folks, if you're ever interested in reading A Song of Ice and Fire, or if you're like Luke and myself, who are audiobook listeners, you can always go to audible.com/
go to www.thepodcastthat.com/audible, and you can click on our affiliate link and get a free audiobook on a free 30-day trial.
There you go. All right, just had to get that out there.
You got a book recommendation for him?
Book recommendation for this week, I will say, let's go with the original. Let's go with Game of Thrones. And I do recommend the Rojo Treese versions. He's very awesome audiobook and narrator, so if you get the chance to get that one, go for that one. And actually, you may be able to get all 4 of the first 4 in one download. I have seen some links like that. I can't speak to Audible, but it's possible. So just keep an eye out for those and give them a shot. So, all right. Glenn. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Brian, what was your favorite thing this episode?
Favorite thing was probably the War Council scene. It was pretty perfectly done. It was interesting seeing the interactions between the Tyrell family and the Martell family. People want different things from Danny, and I think she handled it pretty well. I think Tyrion's going to be an excellent advisor for her in this war. Yeah, so overall, I thought great scene.
Yeah, I like that scene a lot, too. It really gave Tyrion some back behind, Danny backing with the Ironborn there, the Tyrells there, the Martells there. It's a lot of very different people. It's a pretty good pick there, Brian.
Yeah. Glenn.
I'd probably say just Nymeria. As far as like her dwarfing the other wolves, I think it's something that, like some of the other dire wolves, they just look like a regular wolf. But I think the thing about the dire wolves is they're a lot bigger than your average wolf.
Yeah. All right, mine is Ding Dong, the snakes are gone. I loved it seeing the bittersweetness of those two sand snakes getting taken out with their own weapons by the badass Huron. Perfectly done.
Mine was actually the transition from cutting off the grayscale to the hot pie or to the pot pie. It's just
I did not appreciate that.
The show does such a good job of transitions in general. I think if you look, if you pay attention to transitions in the show, they always have something related to whatever was just said. It's almost always a causational transition. Like if somebody mentions something about a Stark, it'll cut to Winterfell, or the Randall Tarly.
See a baby being born with Lyanna Stark.
Right.
Hey, cut to John's face.
Randall Tarly says, "I'm a Tarly. We don't do this that way," and then it cuts to Sam in the Citadel. Like,
he's doing something.
Exactly. I just commend the show and their editors so much for how they transition, and this is probably one of the biggest ones that has just made me go, "Oh." I just really like that.
Yeah, I think for this section,
it's actually kind of my pick as well. I really like the whole comedy around Sam cutting the grayscale off of Jorah.
Yeah.
They have like the whole he's cutting and he's like, I realize this fucking hurts, but you have to shut your fucking mouth.
Right.
If this is gonna work, you need to be quiet. And then he like cuts into it, and Jorah's biting down on the thing, and he's like, and then he just like starts cutting really quick. And it was pretty funny. And then it culminates with the scene transition. It was pretty good. And Jorah got, to get hammered on some rum. He had a rum drink.
And then Sam grabbed some. He's like,
give that first, because he's like, you're not touching this before I do.
He's probably gonna go a little bit more. He's got grayscale all over his body, so he's doing like kind of the chest. It's gonna go down south, where he's got to get the grayscale off everything else. Just saying.
I think that's clear enough as to what you're saying.
Yeah. So, all right. On the next episode, because we're about to get into some speculations and spoilers, I think. So, if you want to jump off here, you don't want to hear our thoughts on what might, could, should happen, we'll end the show now. We thank you. But for the next episode, though, we'll be talking about from the preview scene, the Queen's Justice of the next episode. Dany contemplates the Greyjoy's loss. Euron is just being a stud in King's Landing. Jon shows up, and Dany's trying hard to look like a badass in the Dragon Throne. And looks like we're going to maybe see the Battle of the Rock. So to those of you signing out, we appreciate it. To the rest of you, give us about 5 seconds. All right, we're into spoilers and speculations here. Luke, what do you think is going to happen next episode?
So, I really like Euron taking hostages, because in the preview Winds of Winter chapters, there's a lot going on with Aeron Greyjoy being captured or held hostage by Euron, and I think that Yara might be playing part of that. I don't think they're going to get into all of that, where they force Aeron to drink the nightshade.
Yeah.
But I'm very interested to see what kind of tortures he has in mind for her, specifically because she took all of his ships and he had to build all of these new ships.
Yeah.
So I like that door being open, because I think that part of Winds of Winter, at least the preview stuff that we've seen, it just really, really gets into how much of a fucked up bastard Euron really is.
Yeah. No, definitely agreed. I'm kind of right there with you. I want to see that one. I do really hope I'm looking forward to the Battle of the Rock, and seeing the Unsullied and Dothraki just attack, because we've never seen Casterly Rock, and even there's never been a great description in the books of Casterly Rock. It's never,
the exterior of it,
like the exterior, the actual logistics. I mean, there's been a couple notes here and
the caverns underneath get talked about a lot,
but there's
never a scene in the books at Casterly Rock either.
No, there's not, and so it's like that's one I've been
just the dream sequence, right?
That was
like
more
underneath the rock. That's what the caverns underneath the rock.
I was thinking. No, are you talking Cersei's?
Jamie, where he gets
I'm blanking on his dreams.
Arthur Dayne and Brienne are all involved. Brian, you know what I'm talking about?
No.
No, it's when so it's right after Jamie gets his hand chopped off and he's laying his head down to sleep on a weirwood tree, and he dreams of being down below Casterly Rock, and he ends up having the other 6 Kingsguard front him for basically turning on Mad King Ares, and go back and read it.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and read that.
Be a lookup for me.
Yeah, the only time we got somewhat mentioned, but it was more of what's the other town? The Lannisters. But
it happens right before Jamie goes back to save Brienne from the bear pit.
Gotcha.
It's the scene that makes him turn around.
Gotcha.
To go and save Brienne because she saves him there.
In the dream. Yeah, fair enough.
Also, with that battle next episode, I'm pretty sure it'll just be the Unsullied. I don't think they want to unleash the Dothraki quite yet at this point.
That's fair.
I'm looking forward to because we haven't seen the Unsullied in like a proper battle.
Right. It's just been bodyguard stuff.
Yeah,
and
true.
Apparently, they're pretty awesome at it. So.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Unsullied are meant to be defenders. They're not. I mean,
no, they're on the field.
But their formation. They're ones to be meant to do formation, kind of like the old Spartans. They bulk up, they spear up. They would have been great against Ramsay and the Battle of the Bastards because he used the same mentality of build up, bodies up.
They're open field warriors.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know if they're siege. They're not quite siege warriors.
Wild speculation.
Just say,
Grey Worm's not making it very long.
No, definitely not.
I think that's goodbye with Miss Sandy. Yeah. He got his rocks off.
I think he's weak. I think while what he said to her is romantic, you're my weakness, I think it's very true.
Yeah,
I think it's his downfall.
Yeah,
he's gonna regret. Yeah, go ahead.
He's not gonna make the unsullied, cold-hearted best decision. What would be expected of him, especially as the leader, and I think it could be detrimental. I don't know. I don't see them losing the fight, but I could see something bad coming from that.
Yeah, no, definitely. All right. Anybody got any?
My biggest thing from the next episode, or spoilers, speculations, you're gonna see Jon Snow go to Dragonstone and you're gonna meet with new characters, as well as I think him and Tyrion left on good terms in season 1.
That's gonna be exciting.
So that's gonna be exciting, like you said. And just to have characters just meet back up, or new character development too, is just going to be fun.
I think like any other show, this would feel like such fan service to be bringing all of these characters together. But that's really what has to happen.
Yeah, and think about it, no other show you would have several main characters never interacting. Jon, Cersei, and Dany have never met.
Jon and Cersei met.
Oh, okay, you're right. Very first episode.
Episode 1, episode 2.
Yep, you're correct about that. But fine, Dany and Cersei have never met. Jon and Dany have never met. Jon. Well, he was in the same building. They may have never had an actual scene of talking to each other.
He wasn't at the presentation when they came up.
But he was at the feast. I mean, they were in the same location at least.
Yeah.
So I'm looking Brian that he was in the same location. But but these characters have never interacted. And it's one of those of that's what any other show wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense to not have these characters interact.
Yeah.
But this one, it just makes sense.
Big.
It's just that big, and it's awesome. It definitely leaves a lot of story with. It's awesome. Did you say awesome sauce?
I just said, it's awesome.
Oh, I was like, awesome sauce. My sister says it. Anyway, okay. Anybody got any other speculations? I will speculate. I think Bran. We will get a Bran scene next episode, either at the wall talking to Ed or heading back to Winterfell. I will speculate that there's going to be a Bran scene.
I think I would like to see him at the wall for one episode, just to try to see some of the stuff that Sam's seen.
Yeah, kind of leave. Talk to Dollar Said for a little bit, then kind of leave.
Or somebody who actually, other than the Night's Watch, knows all about the Night's King. It's not just Jon saying, "Oh, the Army of the Dead's coming," and all the Night's Watch are like, "Yeah, we know." It's like his brother, which is not that exciting, but like this kid who could tell you everything about the Night's King, not everything, but way more than anybody else could, has been touched by the Night's King.
Right. And
we didn't even see Brown last episode, or like this episode, so he's been doing something as well this time. Like,
and really,
time is still fast.
He's got a lot of information that the Night's Watch could use.
Yes.
Like they just need to like sit down and hey, fucking watch out. Like they're literally coming right now.
And I think they're doing Brand's storyline right because his storyline, like even in the books, has been always very limited. Like because he's been on his own since book 2. He's just been on his own, doing his own thing and everything. But there's not a huge story.
Don't forget about the Reeds and Hodor.
But
never forget about Hodor.
Never.
Empty glass.
Empty glass. Yes. Here's the Hodor. But it's one of those. His story. I'm not saying it's a weak story. It's just there's not a lot of information needed. And so what I loved that he was out of season 5. There's no Brand season 5, which is what they needed. They needed time for him just to build and grow, and so all that kind of stuff. You know, so I am interested to see, and I like that he wasn't on last episode. Leave it to where it's not being forced. They're not trying to force a story out of maybe information they don't have yet, or they haven't, figured out, kind of thing.
The less they show about it, the creepier and more of a presence it really has. Because
exactly.
what's going on? Like it really pulls those strings of like I'm getting really worried. Like we'll see what happens.
No, definitely. So all right.
Final thoughts, anyone?
Also, you had like Hound and like the wildlings going to Eastwatch by the Sea.
Yeah.
That could come up later. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about it, but
I think that will show up.
Now that one may not, because next episode is apparently the shortest of the entire series. From what I've heard, it's sitting at like 49 minutes. So it's gonna.
Come on!
I'm done with this.
Right.
We're skipping next episode.
It's gonna be a short episode, so I think we're gonna be, streamlined a little bit. Like so that. With that, I'm gonna call a brand scene, a quick 2-3 minute brand scene, but I don't think we're gonna Eastwatch yet with Tormund and the brothers.
I just hope just yet. Actually, the Rock. That's my thing. I really don't.
I don't think that's gonna happen next time.
Who's that?
Cashley Rock.
Oh, Cashley Rock. No, I think Battle of the Rock is happening in the next episode. We see the Unsullied in armor up against in the.
They also have to get there.
True.
We don't know how far the ships this episode actually traveled yet, too. Like the passage of
the
time.
Unsullied aren't necessarily at Dragonstone.
The passage of time is so. I think it's still, even for the past 2 seasons, it's so disconnected for storylines. So,
well, yeah, that's one thing. They're just like, forget the time thing. It doesn't matter. We're just moving past that.
All right.
So,
Riley, final thought?
I don't know. Rip sand snakes.
Brian, final thought?
My only kind of, I would say, out there speculation is Arya's turning back south. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see her next season or next episode, and like on episode 4, she just comes out of nowhere and she's heading south again.
All right, Luke, final thought.
I hope Yara gets tortured by Euron. Nothing against Yara. I just I like where that's going, and I hope they really need to play up how sadistic and terrible Euron is, and it will only work if it's a character that we actually care about. I think for the show's sake, they need to play that up, and Yara, and I guess the Sand Snakes for fan service almost.
I think that'll be Cersei.
No, Cersei. This is going into my final thought on there. Cersei's getting her hands on Ilaria.
Yeah.
And she, because of Marcella. Oh, there's gonna be a wrath coming down, and I think Euron on Yara is going to be nothing compared to what Cersei does.
Me, Kyburn, and the
and the mountain,
and Dead Mountain.
Yeah, and exactly. So, okay, Brian, I don't know if we mentioned this to you. We all have come up with house names. Do you by chance have a house name? And if so, what are your words? What's the name and your words?
I'll have to take some time.
Everyone think about it?
You don't gotta
All
think
right.
about it.
Not a problem. Riley, have you come up with a house name?
I would be just House House Riley of the Harry instead of Aaron of the Harry.
Oh. All right. All right.
Fun master.
All right. Any words?
Shave every day.
Shave every day. All right. Glenn.
Yeah, so I'm Glenn of House Dog, and then my words are: you miss 99% of the shots you don't take.
All right.
Benji.
Look, no, Luke, go ahead with yours.
All right. So I am Lucan of House Blackmead, and our house words are: ours is the drink.
Ours is the drink. Nice. Nice. Ours is the drink. Mine would be: I am Sly of House McLean. My words: yippee-ki-yay.
So, talk about sigils next time.
Sigils, oh God. All right. All right. Well, thank you for joining us this week. A little bit more streamlined than our first episode, I think. So I think we did a pretty good job of it. Join us after we send out the tweet on Twitch. Right now, we'll let you know with a couple hour head notice to join us on our live stream. Follow us on Twitter so you can get those tweets at KnowAndDrink. Send us an email at knowanddrink@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook at KnowAndDrink. Subscribe and rate us on iTunes. Any rating you want to give, especially 5 stars, goes a long way just because other people get to hear us and then we can have more fun with it. So, until next time.
As always, don't turn your back on the Wolfpack.
Winter is coming, so did I.
And as always, stay imaginary.
Thanks, everyone.
Stay awake.
Stay awake. Be ready.
All right, Brian. Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's a lot of fun seeing and listening to some of the original bones of the show and how they've progressed over time. And that's enough from us right now. Please go over to Johnny B. Crazy's channel right now, where they have just started the cat fight in defense and in offense for and against Catelyn Stark. Abby and I have prepared a statement that Bran the Bearded Builder, I believe, is going to distribute for us. Accordingly, we have put our comments in his very, very capable hands. And please go over there and check that out. We will hopefully see you guys again tomorrow night, where we have a special guest named Kev. You may know him as Bridge 4. Cheers, fellas. And ladies. Both. Everyone. Cheers, everyone. We love you all. And this stream has ended.